Here's something that might surprise you, Ian. Abraham Lincoln, who we consider one of our greatest presidents, lost 8 elections before becoming president. But those failures shaped the leader who would ultimately save our democracy.
That's such a fascinating perspective on resilience, Pappy. And what makes it even more remarkable is that he became president just as the nation was falling apart.
You know what's really incredible about Lincoln's story? He went from teaching himself to read by firelight in a Kentucky log cabin to mastering military strategy during the Civil War. The transformation is almost unbelievable when you think about it.
Speaking of transformations, the way he evolved his thinking about slavery throughout his presidency is remarkable. He started focused purely on preserving the Union, but ended up fundamentally reshaping American democracy.
That's exactly right. And let me tell you about one of my favorite examples of his political genius. When someone pressed him early in the war about slavery, he wrote this brilliant response saying he would save the Union whether it meant freeing all slaves, no slaves, or some slaves. Talk about keeping your options open while staying true to your primary mission.
That really shows his tactical thinking. But then, by 1863, he completely changed the game with the Emancipation Proclamation.
Oh, absolutely. And here's what's fascinating about that moment. He waited until after the Union victory at Antietam to issue it. He knew timing was everything. And speaking of timing, let's talk about the Gettysburg Address. Did you know Lincoln wasn't even the main speaker that day?
Well, that's exactly what makes it so incredible. Edward Everett speaks for 2 hours. Then Lincoln gets up and delivers this perfect 272-word speech that completely redefines the meaning of democracy.
And you know what makes that speech even more remarkable? He wrote most of it before arriving, but made crucial revisions the night before. He was constantly refining his message, even under enormous pressure.
The pressure he was under must have been unimaginable. I mean, we're talking about 600,000 dead in a nation of just 31 million people. That's like losing 6 million people today.
And through all that carnage, he maintained this remarkable sense of humanity. There are documented cases of him pardoning hundreds of soldiers condemned for desertion. He would often say, I don't believe shooting a boy for falling asleep at his post will make him a better soldier.
That compassion extended to his vision for Reconstruction as well. His second inaugural address, with that famous line about malice toward none, with charity for all, shows such foresight about healing the nation.
You're right, and that makes his assassination all the more tragic. Just 5 days after Lee's surrender at Appomattox, when the country needed his healing touch most, John Wilkes Booth changed the course of American history at Ford's Theater.
So, what do you think would have been different if he had lived to oversee Reconstruction?
Well, based on his last speeches and private writings, he was planning a relatively generous reconciliation with the South while still ensuring fundamental rights for formerly enslaved people. It would have been a delicate balance, but he had shown an incredible ability to navigate such complexities.
That ability to balance competing interests while maintaining moral clarity. We could certainly use more of that kind of leadership today.
And you know what's really relevant about Lincoln's example? He showed that democracy can survive its greatest tests when leaders are willing to put principles above politics. The fact that we're still learning from his presidency 150 years later speaks volumes about its lasting impact.
Pappy, It really does make you wonder what Lincoln would make of our current political challenges.
I think IAN, he'd remind us of what he said at Gettysburg, that democracy is always an unfinished project requiring each generation to do its part to ensure that government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth.